I have some old sawhorses made out of 2x4s that have been with me for many years, and they've shown some good use. However, as I'm getting older and I've left them outdoors, they're getting a little bit waterlogged. They're getting a little bit clunky to move around. I have a project coming up to paint some doors, and I want to do that upstairs, so I'm going to be moving them up and down. And I would dearly like to have some new lightweight foldable sawhorses, and that's what this project is about. It's a very convertible type of a thing, and there's more to it than just a sawhorse, so stick with me. This project uses poplar that I purchased at Lowe's. It's most of the stock is 1x8 that I'm ripping down at this point. And it's nominally 1 inch thick, but it's 3/4 inch stock. I'm using 3.5 inches as my width on the stock that I'm ripping, so that if in fact you would prefer to make this out of 2x4s, that's exactly the size that you would use. This is chopping 20-degree cuts that are parallel on both the top and bottom of the leg. This is cutting the top of the leg, and there will be plans at the end of this video showing why this is being done. This is drilling a 3/8 inch hole, which is in fact for the 3/8 inch bolt that is the axle between the opposing legs. Okay, I've got all my legs cut down now, and they're all identical. And since I'm making the two, I've decided to cut everything at the same time. Now I've got some stringers, and they're going to be 30 inches long. So because these sawhorses are held together by a tensioning strap on the lower stringers, I'm going to put a slot in here so that the tensioning nylon straps don't wander around too much. I'm only going to put it on one side. It seems to work all right. And I'm just going to use a plunge cut of fairly indeterminate size. I only need about 1.5 inches to 2 inches on this. So this is the router table. Okay, we're going to start marking this up a little bit now. In that it's time to put the stringers on. And the top of the first stringer is going to be 9 inches, and the bottom of the second stringer is going to be 23 inches. Well, there's one. Okay, and here's the other on the opposite side. And you'll see that it's only got the one stringer because the bolts here are going to keep this plenty secure, and the top stringer on the other side is just going to keep it from wrecking. And when you're putting these together, they should be exactly the same size. So one pair of legs is going to fit like that. Okay? It goes to the inside here and to the outside there. And these are 3/8 inch hex bolts, 2 inches long. Beginning to look like a sawhorse. Okay, this is about to become a sawhorse now. What I did off camera was to spread the nylon clamping system, and I also put together a double piece of poplar that's 3.5 inches wide, 36 inches long, and it fits in those jaws right there. And you come over to this side and you pull the strap tight. And by George, that is a sawhorse. Folds up very nicely, stacks against the wall, out of the way. It's a simple process to break down the sawhorse so that you can store it against the wall and take up no space whatsoever. Well, I'm going to end up with sawhorses, and I really like sawhorses, but the design of these particular things means that there's more that you can do with it. And what I've done here is I've taken a 2x4 and I've notched out the sides so that it sits right down there in the yoke and it's flush with the top of the legs. And that means I can attach a plate to it. And I'm going to end up with a small table, a workbench. I can put the chop saw on it and put it to a work site. I do have a work site upstairs that I'm going to be working on. I'm going to be tearing out some siding in our TV room and painting over some drywall. And I'm going to be putting up new moldings and things like that. So I need 45-degree cuts, and I don't want to be running up and down stairs. So that's the next piece. This is putting together the supports that will attach to that 2x4 I showed you, and the plate will screw onto it so it is securely in place. Those blocks were attached to the support pieces so that I would have something to screw to as I went through the 2x4. And this is just finishing up screwing the top plate down to the supports. Well, here it is. It's either a small bench, or if you take it apart and drop that in, it's a sawhorse. And I like things that do a couple of duties. I don't use sawhorses all that frequently, but there are enough times when I like to have a couple of good ones around to be painting outdoors or up in the garage. As I say, this is convertible by the way it's designed. Loosen up the strap on the bottom, pull the top off. Drop the crossbar into place, tighten the strap up. It's a sawhorse. Make 2 of them. You got something to work with, make 3 of them, and you can have your workbench, small workbench, and a couple of sawhorses to put things on. Thanks for watching. I'm Tom Stevens. Like it, share it, come on back. I'll have something else pretty soon.